Hello. So on this Career Conversations show, today I could get time out from a very busy personality. So if you would have been active on LinkedIn and in the startup industry, you would have heard the name of Mr. Amit Kumar. He's the partner of AHA Ventures, which is one of the most vibrant fundraising platforms in India for investors looking for early seed and Series A kind of investments. So he's a chartered accountant. So welcome to the show, Amit Kumar ji. And
Thank you.
yeah, so it's been a pleasure having you. So before we plunge into the professional part of your journey, so can you just quickly take us around when you were into where were you born, your family, schooling, college, CA, what prompted CA, and why not MBA? Yeah.
Right. So I think from a very young age, I've traveled quite a bit. So I was born in Delhi, hardly stayed there, then went across to the continent of Africa for 5 years. Was in Kenya for 5 years. One of the most amazing times I think I would have had as a child there. A big house with a nice big car and a big garden in front of your house. That was luxury, right? In a country like Kenya, one of the most beautiful times. Then in about 5 years time, we came back. And then very short stint was in Ludhiana for some time. It is Punjab. That's why a lot of people tell me that you're a Punjabi, but that's not actually the case, right? So I'm a Multani, which means my grandfathers, etc., or grandparents were from Pakistan and they migrated to India during partition. So my father has seen when he was just 6 months
Oh,
old. Also a little bit of excitement during that time. Then we shifted to Gujarat, Baroda, and that is where my majority of the education happened. It was in a convent school, great fun from standard 4 till about college. I was there, and loads of opportunities during that time because of what we really learned at school. I think the school today and school at that time is very, very different. And I think the fun element in school at that point in time was much more than what we have today with our kids. The kind of pressures and the kind of peer pressure, parental pressure, both pressures combining. Then the best part was I decided to become a CA when I was in ninth standard. And that is because somebody asked me, what do you want to become? So I never liked science. So I said, okay, I'll become a CA. And I had no clue how to go about it till standard 12 when they introduced the foundation course. So I was the first batch of the foundation course
acha,
at that point in time in about, I think 95 or 96. I vaguely remember.
acha.
And my father told me, okay, now the foundation course has started. Why don't you fill up the form? I filled in the form like my other friends, at least 7 of them. Uh, and it was great, 7 people going to the class and having fun and enjoying themselves. But then the reality check happened when 6 of my friends failed and I was the only one who passed the foundation exam. And then I thought, oh my God, now what will I do? That if you have seen the movie Laksh, that was the time he said, oh my God, now these 6 people are not going to be there. I'm the only one who's going to be here. But I stayed put there, and the intermediate was a breeze. But then the bigger reality check came in the final examination, and the first accountancy paper was there. There used to be 6 questions, and all 6 were compulsory questions. I turned the paper around first, the second, and the last one. I thought, I don't know to answer. I in fact didn't know to answer any of the questions at that point in
Oh,
time. Because I was a very fun-loving guy all the time. I never thought that it should be very difficult because I was a school topper, by the way, in my 12th standard, a gold medalist, and I thought, it's very easy. But you need sometimes that reality check. And so I came home and I told my dad, the paper was good. I think it was just way beyond my level. So I think I'll have to try next time. So at that point in time, it was decided I'm not going to clear my examination. Then I took a second attempt, and that also didn't click. And then I figured out, okay, now I think it's real time that I have to go back to my good school days where extreme discipline is required, dedication, sincerity to really ensure that I have to pass this examination at one go. And yes, on the third attempt, I think I cleared both the groups at the same time. And for me, that was a Eureka moment. And that's the day when I opened a big bottle of champagne at my house. I still remember those days.
oh,
I've been an avid tennis player. I've been a national level tennis player, a state level badminton and a table tennis player.
oh my
So
God.
sports has been a very, very integral part of my life. And I still enjoy doing a lot of sport, be it table tennis or badminton, whenever I get time and a chance rather than anything else. I walk every day. In today's lockdown also, I go to the terrace and I walk like 4 kilometers without any fail.
That
I do my
explains the
crunches
shine
at
on the
home.
face.
And I do a lot of, I do some breathing exercises, do some push-ups and do some abs. So yeah, I'm keeping myself busy. And so that's a little bit about me. Married with one daughter and one wife, as I always say, right? She's 9 years old. I stay with my parents out here in
Wife is
Pune.
9 years old,
No, my daughter is 9 years old. Uh,
and your wife is a
but
cost accountant, and she works with
yeah,
I think Wokhad
Castrol. No, she works
Castrol.
with
Now,
Castrol.
now she's with Castrol, right?
Castrol, that's right. Yes.
Okay. So now, once you became a CA, then you had these consulting stints of almost 15 years, one in Mahajan and Aibara, and then you
Yeah.
started your own venture in terms of Progress Partners. And I see
Yes.
from your LinkedIn profile that you've done everything under the sun: management, audit, consulting, due diligence, but not stat audit. So tell us about
Yes.
those 15 years. I mean, you always had that consultant bent of mind. Then why not you went for an MBA then? Because consultants always want to have showcase that MBA chap. It's like a stamp of trust. So
So totally, it's a very valid question, and that is what I've been hearing from people all the while. That I think I became a chartered accountant more by chance and an accident than anything else. As I said, 6 people flunked and I passed, and that's why then I put my heart and soul into it. Because once I start something, I don't want to leave it in the middle. So that's the reason I also completed my CA. It's not that I didn't try for MBA, but I only had one thing in my mind, that if I had to do an MBA, I have to go to the IIMs. And again, I took the cat and typically figured out, no, you're not made for the IIMs. Just stay. So the only way I could really learn the tricks of the trade of management consulting is to get into management consulting, right? So because I couldn't go to a management school to learn quite a few things. Now, today, how chartered accountants are learning things has changed dramatically and drastically what has happened in the past as well. So in the past, a chartered accountant was an accountant, right?
yeah,
And but today the role has completely changed of the CFO, or maybe you're getting into analysis. In fact, CFOs becoming CEOs. That is what the trend also is showing, because they know finance so well. They learn the business aspects during their stint as say a financial controller or downwards as well. So that is precisely the reason I got into management consulting. And there is a story to that as well. So when I joined Mahajan and Aibara, I was in the in the audit division, which was doing internal audit, and I was there for about 3 months. And then IDBI Bank was hiring. So again, another fitur in my mind came that I should try this bank also. I wanted to get into treasury, which was a more dynamic role, right?
yeah.
Whether it is front end or back end treasury, it is exciting. Trading, money, and all the works that we have seen in the movies. It's so exciting, right? Wearing a fantastic Italian cut suit and being a banker. Oh man, I wanted to be that. So I went to the bank, I cracked the exam, I cracked both the interviews, and day one I went to the headquarters of IDBI Bank in Nariman Point, and there I am, and they're telling me, okay, now you are going to be in corporate accounts, and you will be doing RBI reconciliations, you will be doing bank account reconciliations, and that is about 11:30 in the morning. My senior, I said, I thought that I was promised that I'm going to be having an induction round 6 months into the bank, various departments, and in the department where I figure or fare the best, I'll be given that department. And I decided I'll fare the best in the treasury department. He said, no, but that is what the management has decided. This was 1st of April, I clearly remember. And so in the afternoon, I picked up the phone and talked to my dad, and I told him during lunchtime that, you know what, they have put me in the accounts department. He told me, do one thing, you come back. So I said, wow, this is the validation from a father that you generally want, that if you don't want to do something or you don't like something, do not do it. Just follow your heart. And I spoke to the HR guys. I took all my original papers, etc. And about 4:30, I left that office, and obviously I joined the bank on the same day. I quit the bank on the same day.
A
And I
sarkari
went
naukri.
back.
Sarkar.
IDBI Bank is a private bank. IDBI Bank is a
And
private
then
bank.
now it's a sarkari bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
LIC, yeah.
So I went back to Mahajan Aibara the next day as if, nothing had happened. And I also knew those guys pretty well. So then they said, okay, audit, I think is not really cut for you, or you are not cut for audit. Why don't you go to the management consulting division and speak to the partner? One of the most dynamic guys I've worked in my entire life with, Homi Aibara. Unfortunately, he is not with us anymore, right? He left for his heavenly abode about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, the king of hospitality consulting, and I learned the tricks of the trade of management consulting from there. That if you want to become a management consultant, you have to start from the bottom. And that actually what my dad also taught me. My dad is from IIT Delhi, and he's taught me that if you want to learn to become a good person or a good management person, you have to start from the shop floor. And that's what Homi also taught us. So the first day I reached and he told me, "Oh, fantastic! You are the new guy. You're a chartered accountant. We are doing a project. Go to Andheri in Seeps and walk about 20 lanes there and map the entire demography of that place and come back." I was like, I'm a chartered accountant. I can't do that, right? I mean, I'm going to get rashes under my pants if I walk in this hot sun. It's April, right? I told you. No, he said, that's how you learn the tricks of the trade. And I really thank him that if today also I had to do any job, for me, it is not small or big. If I have to do it, I have to do it. And I do it with all my heart. In fact, I call entrepreneurs as P2Ps in my life. The peon to president is the same person. If you want to get into entrepreneurship, you have to learn something, start from the bottom, start from the ground, and then go upwards. Or else you'll always say a bird's eye view and not really get what is happening at the ground.
Then what were those big ticket, maybe that one assignment in those 15 years, which you really remember? Because a lot of youngsters want to get into management consulting, but beyond those two words, which are very exciting, people just don't get into those profiles.
Right. So I think it may not be true any longer now, because today's generation, the opportunities are unlimited with the new age companies also coming in, right? The unicorn startups, we have about 27 of them and a lot of unicorns around the corner. So the opportunities galore, right? That's what I call India, right? We have the fastest growing economies today, also the third best startup ecosystem in the world. So I don't think so the opportunity is there, but it's for management consulting. All you need to find is one key client as a hook, which gives you that opportunity. And trust me, that opportunity for us was given by one of our clients. I must have visited his office 16 times, sitting outside and waiting for a meeting. Trust me. And they didn't have that vertical in their organization at all. And all they said is, no, we don't need this service. We don't need this service. But I persisted on meeting the CFO. And finally, I met the CFO and he said, I'm not giving you the job because we really need it, but for just sheer persistence that you have shown of getting this job. And we got that assignment, and that was the function that they started in their organization. In fact, we also started another function in their department on compliance services, which they had never done. And that's how we built our compliance practice. So you need that first push in life, and you need to also push yourself. You have to push the other person also in kind of pulling you towards and embracing you and saying, okay, I am giving you that chance. I'm thankful to that very person who gave me that opportunity of starting the first management consulting big ticket assignment, which made us or made Progress Partners an extremely successful consulting organization in the risk management and the compliance space.
Fantastic. Now, around 2015, there was a major transition in your career where you went as a CFO of this startup called Just by Life. And you raised nearly $30 million for them, right? So this is one of the highest Series A funding in the year 2015, and $30 million is what, somewhere around 200 odd crores.
200
so
crores, yes.
Please tell us about that experience. How was that? It was quite exciting, I suppose.
Yeah, so I think what I've always believed is that when things get monotonous, you are not able to give your best to those things. And I always believe a lot in change. And my father was very scared, when I was even getting married, saying that you love so much change in your life. What is going to happen? You're getting married. Are you going to stick to that one person all your life? Let's say that I don't treat my relationships, but what I do in life. So I love changing my car every 3 years. I love changing, if I have taken some clothes, I don't want to wear them. I'll just throw them in 3 months' time, because I think if I have not worn something for 3 years, I'm not going to, in 3 months, I'm not going to wear them ever. So that's the whole philosophy I have. So I like new things. I like new gadgets. And in terms of career also, I did the same thing. After 10 years of doing consulting, I thought I have to do something new. It's time to always redefine yourself or re-experiment with with yourself. And I think the family and especially your spouse plays a very, very important part in something like this. If you have a strong support system at home, then you can take such risks, which I have also taken in my career. And I enjoy taking risks. Well, like my wife wouldn't be enjoying so much, taking risks, because everybody has been, they're brought up in a certain way, and they have certain own philosophies in life. But my whims and fancies were completely crazy. So in 2015, I was appointed by Just by Life, or Progress Partners was appointed by Just by Life, to set up the company, to put in the standard operating processes, to make the business plan, to do the financial modeling, everything that was there. And I was probably the fourth guy in the organization, except the two founders and one more person who was looking after HR and administration. I was the person who walked in and says, they just showed me the plan. I said, fantastic, I'm taking on the assignment. We decided on a retainer for about 3 months time, because that is enough time to set a lot of things right, or at least prepare things. I was the lead consultant on that. So a partner from our firm had to lead an assignment, because this was a big ticket assignment on a monthly retainer basis. So, and it was very close to my home. So it was a natural choice that I have to go there every day. I started interacting with the CEO and the COO and the managing director on a very one-to-one basis. Young guys, just like maybe just as my age. I wouldn't now call myself young, but yes, kind of middle-aged. So we gelled very well, and the model excited me, because that model never existed in the country. It was a disruption that was bound to happen, and disruption waiting to be happened.
What was it doing exactly?
So it was B2B, but it was aggregation of distributorship. So in short, it was brand to retail. The retailers could buy stuff directly from the brands without any distribution layer in the middle. So that is disruption. That is exactly what Udaan is doing today. Udaan started after, much after us, or I would say Just by Life. I still call it us, because one of the most exciting times. I say Just by Life for me was a not million, a zillion years of experience. I'll share my learnings from Just by Life once I kind of tell you the story. So after 3 months, the entire team was being built. Whether it was the chief people officer, whether it was chief marketing officer, chief strategy officer, because the person who was heading it already was a very successful entrepreneur. And he said that we don't have a finance person per se. So why don't you become our CFO, and you also will be inducted on the board, because as finance person being on the board, etc. I said, fair enough. He said, you have only made the business plan, and you have only got it and done the financial modeling. So it is the easiest thing for you is to kind of sell it for us, and let's go together and sell it. So we started selling in the month of August. And behold, by God's grace, we signed our agreement on 30th of October. That's the fastest fundraise I have experienced personally in my life. Now, raising 30 million, first, the whole part, if you tell anybody that you are supposed to raise 30 million, they'll be taken aback. They'll think there's something crazy happening. It's impossible. But as I said, I love taking risks. I said 30 million, okay, fair enough. I didn't blink an eye, because what we were planning is very, very important. So take care of one thing. If you are planned something, then only you can execute it, right? So if anything is on paper, then only it can be in reality. So when we planned it on paper and we said that we will raise 200 crores, said, yeah, we can raise, because we need 200 crores for the kind of disruption we're planning to make. We started talking to people, we started talking to VCs, started talking to PE guys, because 200 crores is a lot of money. In today's terms, also, if you do 5 years back, was huge. And then, I don't know from where the research have been said, do you know that if we are able to crack this one, this will be the highest series A of this year. And more importantly, it will be maybe the third or fourth series A raise of Asia. So they say, okay, let's do it. And we finally signed the agreement. For us, it was ecstatic moment, right? But in my mind, please don't forget, I still have, certain kind of, I would say, learnings of a middle class boy. I said, no, my dad has taught me again one more thing, that till the money does not hit the bank, don't celebrate. Don't celebrate before you take the catch, because the umpire may still call it a no ball. Everybody was very happy in the organization, and I was cool, composed. From inside, I'm happy. I was acting like the Dhoni of cricket at that point in time. So my CEO said that, why aren't you happy? We have achieved something big. I said, wait. When the first tranche hits the bank account, that's the time I will celebrate. He said, how can you keep such a poker face? I said, that's what you're supposed to do. Just keep calm. In fact, we didn't do any press announcement till January of the next year, because we thought let almost the full money come into the bank account, then we will celebrate. Few learnings from Just by Life. I think one of the most amazing ones. Think big. That's the biggest learning that I had. Think scale, think big. The world is absolutely unlimited. If you have an opportunity, you can achieve anything. And if you can think, then that's the only way you will achieve it. If something is on paper, then only it will happen. And more than anything else, I wore every hat you could think of. Chief People Officer, our CTO went, I was even in charge of that. Chief Logistics Officer, I in fact played that role also, and never got tired of doing it. We used to reach office at 9, and during formative days, I used to come home every day at 1 o'clock. So that is what it taught. If you love something that you do, then there is no stopping you. There is no, I never thought that I never experienced energy loss in my life for those 1.5, 2 years, especially. We used to work 6 days a week. Even on Sundays, we used to have calls on strategy because we were there to disrupt something extremely big. Unfortunately, it could not sustain, the second fundraise, and that's the reason it happened. And luckily, touch wood, by God's grace, I'd left it much before that, or else, it would be very difficult for me to really see this not happening or this not succeeding. So there are certain learnings which I'll never forget. As I said, zillion years of experience. It opened up the entire sphere of my thinking. Only think big. And today, if somebody talks to me about 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 crores, I mean, it just business as usual, because we know it is possible, and we have seen that kind of money come into the bank account. And I still have that screenshot saved.
And I'm so grateful for that experience of Just by Life, because my sister also got her career break after that maternity and all, just because of Just by Life. So that reinitiation into the professional journey was just because of that. Now, in terms of the next pivot, and that was a major pivot in terms of you went, so you were on the fundraising side for a startup, and then you switched sides and you became a partner in this R Ventures. And it's a fundraising platform for the uninitiated with total investments of $25 million, which is somewhere around 175, 200 crores, 35 startups, 50 plus investments. So how did this shift happen? So you were a management consultant, then you became a CFO of a startup, and now you are on the other side helping startups raise funds. So how did this happen?
Yeah. So again, an interesting story. So what happened? When I was raising funds, I met a lot of VCs. I just loved the way they got to evaluate so many startups, deal with investors on one side and startups on the other side. And I love to communicate, and luckily I feel that I have a decent analytical set of mind, and I could analyze and evaluate businesses pretty well, at least from the financial angle more than anything else. And then two friends of mine, our ventures is owned by two friends of mine, Abhijit and Harshad. So I was speaking to Abhijit saying that I think I need to do something exciting, and kind of now, I'm done with management consulting, which was another part of the world. Now I have been a CFO of a corporate. I don't think so I'm really cut out for that, because there are too many people and sometimes too many whims and fancies. So I don't really like that. I think I like working more independently, although I had amazing amount of independence at Just By. But I just want to do something which is now much more exciting. I think let's start a fund. He said that starting a fund is not easy. I said, nothing is easy. Starting a fund is one of the most difficult things. You have to go and convince somebody that, okay, give me the money, I'll invest on your behalf, and when the profits happen, I'll take 20% of it. Wow, how good is that, right? So he said, okay, fair enough, let us give it a push. So we all came together and we decided that we are going to start an R Ventures fund. And by the way, that plan is still on. It's not that it's not on. While this was happening, R Ventures used to do investments which were about, say, $500,000 per startup. And by the way, we have done about 55 investments in 40 odd startups. And out of the 40, R Ventures themselves have invested in 10 of them. So which also means that I've also kind of invested in a few startups myself, which is also an exciting part, right? Owning something and making it big and then making wealth out of it. It's very exciting. So while we are in the process of making a fund, it's a long journey. If you see that today making an AIF is going to take about 6 months, 8 months time, garnering money. So if you are a first time fund manager, which itself is a very, very difficult thing. It takes about 1.5 to 2 years to get your first fund in place. Whilst we are doing so, I have a lot of friends who have a lot of startups and they want to raise money. And they want to raise big money, which is anything ranging from $2 million to $10 million. So then I said that fair enough, out of the 3 partners that we have, every partner has got a different skill set and also different domain experience, and more importantly, different areas they're handling. One of them is handling the creative part, the other one is handling the platform fundraising and the workshop part, and the third one I am now handling the $2 to $10 million fundraise part. And we started doing it. We are running at least 6 mandates of about $4 to $7 million, which we are raising for various startups. So this also this is the one which has happened in a very planned way. This is not by accident, because this had to happen over a period of time when I've been on 2 sides of the table. Now coming on this side of the table, I think I feel this is my calling, but only time will tell, and God has to be kind in this.
Let's say in
And
terms of in terms of this is quite all the dots connecting. So management consulting, then you became a CFO for startup. So got excited by fundraise, started raising fund for other people. Now, let's say if there is someone in the audience who wants to be an entrepreneur. So fundraising, as in what should be the focus area? I find a lot of people, they think that fundraising is more critical than the business idea itself. So there is these youngsters who just feel that they have an idea, they should first raise $1 million. That does not happen. So what are your thoughts on that? So how does a budding entrepreneur plan this fundraising exercise? What should be the things?
Correct. I think very pertinent question, and that is what is happening in the startup ecosystem. But I'm happy that you have asked that question. People think that having a startup means raising funds, but that is not the case. Having a startup means you should have a solid idea with solid ability to do that and execute the same. I think that is what you should be focusing on. The time you think you are going to be raising funds, I think that's the first block that you have already hit. It is not possible to do that, right? So most important, have a great idea, have it validated, and remember you have to invest some money of your own in your own startup, because if you haven't done it, then I don't think so there will be anyone else. So there is a clear structure of fundraising for any startup. If you have the idea, you have the team, the execution capabilities, then you should put in some money, then your friends and family put some money, then you go and get outside money. That is how the world has always functioned. It's gone are the days when somebody would say, oh, bright idea, bright guy, here is like $1 million and execute it for me. I think that kind of seed funding is way, way behind now. That does not happen. In fact, in the Silicon Valley, you can obviously still do that, right? People will be betting on someone like you if you have a solid idea, but those ideas, they probably 1 in a million ideas, or 1 in maybe a 500,000 ideas. So remember, for me, whenever we evaluate an entrepreneur or his idea, I think we evaluate the business idea first and then the entrepreneur. But in very early stage, there may be a business idea which is very common. You and me probably would have also thought of that idea. Then we bet on the founder himself, that if this person can execute it, then this idea is worth even planning to be executed. So that is what we evaluate.
And in terms of this investment pitch, because you would be getting like a dozen investment decks every day. So how do you filter out? Because there would be so many people, and that would be across sectors. So you are betting on certain sectors. What do you look at? So as you said, you look at the founder, the execution capability. So what are those broad parameters which VCs like you look at before they say, okay, we are going to support you in the fundraise?
Okay, so first of all, our ventures has a, deal pipeline is pretty crazy. We get about 400 to 500 business plans a month, which means that we kind of typically get about 15 plans a day, as you said. And so we have a 3-level curation process. In that three-level curation process, the deal sourcing team is the one which actually filters 70-75% of the pitch decks that come to us. So we are an early stage investment platform. So we don't do seed capital at all. So which means that somebody whose idea is there, who has already built the minimum viable product, the MVP, as we say, they have already done the POC in the market, and you are generating some kind of revenue. So early stage revenue generating companies is that what we see. So if you see a lot of business plans we get, I would say around 50%, 55% get filtered there only, because very fresh ideas also come to us. So that filtration process is done by the teams. So out of the probably, I would say 50%, 60% gone of the 200 ideas, about 25, 30 ideas come to the partners for further evaluation. So we have given an objective checklist to our team, who will go through the checklist and say, okay, this idea is meeting the criteria or not. And once that is done, it comes to us. Then Abhijit and me, my partner Abhijit and me, we look at those ideas, what we feel is viable, and which we think that can go through with the investors. Please understand, every business which is wanting to raise funds is not a fund-worthy business. So the business has to be fund-worthy, and there are certain check boxes, as you rightly mentioned, whether it is the business idea, the scalability part of it, the marketability part of it, the team that is there, is something that needs to be looked into. Once that is done, and the product evaluation is also done, that's the time we then decide to launch it on the platform. Then it goes to the investors for further processing.
Wow, exciting. So people must remember that the business must have already some revenue before investors in large will look at it. You can't just say that, hey, I woke up today morning, I have this great idea, so please give me $1 million. That somehow will not happen. Now, in this post-COVID situation, what would be your advice to budding entrepreneurs? So, we've had a lot of discussion around this. Recession is the best time to start up, but then you are not even able to step out of your homes. Today, we had a session by Chanakya, the author. So he said this is the best time to start up. And in fact, in post 2008, some of the best startups in the world, WhatsApp and Insta, all of them were like recession products. So what is your take on that? Is this a good time to start up?
Yeah, it is. It is fabulously what Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai said, and in fact, like you mentioned, that all the big companies, Airbnb also, this name included, also started during the 2008 recession or the financial crisis. I think why this is said is that once the recession is over, there's a crazy amount of demand that happens after that, and it's not for the current products, but for the new products also, because people didn't have money. Now they have the money. They want something new. So we as a human race, please remember, excitement or surprises are a part of our life, and that keeps the adrenaline pumping high all the time. And that is why we need to start now. Now you cannot go to the market. I completely agree. There is a lockdown. How do you approach customers, etc.? So this is the time that you need to plan. And then there was no better time to plan than this. So as I say, searching for an opportunity during a calamity, this is the time. And select and decide on certain sectors that may do well in the coming times, right? So some of the sectors that have been identified by all the experts around the globe, in fact, I was speaking not the right thing to say at this point in time because of what new FDI policies, but I was speaking to a lot of Chinese VCs on a webinar the other day, and we were discussing what are the sectors that will go through post COVID-19. Education, which is education technology, health, sanitation, hygiene. Third most important, B2B enterprise SaaS will do extremely well. Now we have realized one very important thing, that we need G2C companies, government to consumer startups also, which will help both consumers and governments. Those are the companies which will also do extremely well. There is no doubt that consumer good companies will do extremely well. FMCG is doing well. It will still continue to do well. And micro logistics companies have really shown that when everything is not working, the Dunzo or the Swiggy or people now have pivoted, like a Domino's also. If you see, Domino's has started delivering your basic stuff like groceries also. So people have repivoted. So the beauty of an entrepreneur, or especially the startup ecosystem, is they love to pivot. They understand that we have taken somebody else's money. It is our fiduciary responsibility to return the money with interest, with returns. So it is, so they always are very, very budding and enterprising. And that is the word entrepreneurship stands for. So if you want to start 3 months down the line, you need to plan now. So there is no point in planning after 3 months. The world would have gone way ahead of you. So sit back, relax, get into a thinking mode. So there is also a concept of positive procrastination. Procrastination is not always bad. Like, it's not a negative term in the sense. So positive procrastination is also necessary. Sit back, relax, find a small corner in your entire house, chalk down your ideas, speak to your friends, speak to mentors, whomsoever you really respect, whether in the industry or otherwise in the family, and get as many inputs. The kind of time that people will be able to give you now, they'll not be able to give you maybe 2 months down the line when the lockdown is over and people are going to be just running for survival at that point in time in terms of business and other things. So plan now, execute maybe after 3 months, and keep in mind all these sectors. These are the sectors that will do pretty well, and anything related to it also will do pretty well.
Fantastic pieces of advice. So we've had a very good insight into your entire journey. If you were to retrace that, do something differently, what would that be?
Honestly speaking, I have one policy in life, that is no regret. So whatever I've done in life, I will never regret doing that, because it has given me a learning and opportunity to do something new. My life has been extremely exciting. So I would never say, oh, I should have done that. I should have done my MBA. I should have tried hard. I've never ever thought, because every day I wake up, for me, it's a brand new beginning. I really don't go into the past and think a lot. I don't plan for the future at all. Although if I have a long-term vision, so I have a certain long-term vision of a certain amount of money or wealth that I should have, that is logged into my head. Only a couple of people in my life know about it, and that is what I want to achieve. I think this seems to be the correct path, but as you know, that time will only tell whether I've chosen the correct path or not. But heart in heart, anything that I do, whether today, tomorrow, day after, and in the future, will always be full of passion and excitement. That will never go down, and that is very clearly reflected in my favorite color, which is red. It is extremely bright, and I always want to see my life full of brightness.
Amazing. So that final one line which you would want, so around 1,000, 2,000 people watch this show over the next 2 days. So what would be that one line to students, to youngsters, to professionals? What would be that one piece of advice that you would want to give?
So I have this 3P principle that I have, and it is applicable to everybody. It is completely agnostic. But for more people who want to become entrepreneurs, because once you become an entrepreneur, you spend 12, 13 hours at your work. So the 3Ps are passion. Do everything that you want to do is with a lot of passion. Second is persistence. Keep persisting again and again and again. I believe in the 1,000 days principle for business also. If you start something, it'll take about 1,000 days for that to become a success. And third most important thing, have patience. Those are the 3Ps. If you have patience, persistence, and passion, there is no doubt that you'll be successful in life, not only in your professional aspects of life, but also in your personal aspects of life.
Oh, this is so amazing. And I could so much relate to it. Let's say when, as we speak, I was thinking about this YouTube channel, almost 1,000 days. And I finally hit the 50,000 subscriber mark. And
Yeah,
so it,
congratulations on that. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much. And seriously, the persistence, patience, these are attributes which really will always work. Thank you so much, Amit ji, for coming on this show and sharing your insights. I would be putting your LinkedIn connect in the description so that people who want to reach out to you for advice would be able to do that. So thank you so much. And
Thank
if
you.
you've liked this video, please share it with your near and dear ones. So like, share, comment. This is the common mantra of any YouTuber. So please do that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anurag. Pleasure is mine. Thanks.
Bye.